friends. Welcome to the Seek Holy Living podcast with Krista Svoboda. I am a wife to my wonderful husband, mom to my 5 precious children, and a friend to some amazing moms that I can't wait to introduce to you. Mothering is not a journey meant to be traveled alone. Join me every Monday for a new podcast where you will find hope, joy, and purpose.
The holiday season is just around the corner, bringing with it opportunities for creating beautiful memories of joy and warmth in your children's hearts. One of the best ways to do this is by creating fun and life-giving holiday traditions for your family. For today's conversation, back with us again is the original creator of so many traditions in my life, my mom, Connie Burroughs. With her is another wonderfully creative mom, Becky Slamer, who makes memories daily with her 2 children, who are 14 and 17 years old. Now, before we begin our conversation, a quick warning that if you're listening with little children today and the magic of Christmas is something that you would like to keep alive in your home, maybe skip ahead when the conversation goes in the direction of Christmas. You can enjoy that part later without the little ears.
Well, I am so glad to be able to be here today. Thank you so much for coming, Mom and Becky. Such a treat. We are going to talk about something that I think is so fun. And I was even thinking about it it's just jumping into fall right now while we're recording this. And so fun. So I got out all of our fall decorations, and I just love that excitement of getting ready for new seasons and the traditions that holds and the newness that comes with it all. And I'm just excited to talk with you about this. And I think one of the things that's fun that I've found, and I'm excited to have you on here with this mom too, because I found that traditions can be something that's generational, where there's certain things that I do that are because of the way that you did it. Mm-hmm. And then there's other things that we've just created on our own, some on purpose, some just by mistake, because we did it once and then it turned out it was really fun and everyone loved it. So it just became a thing that we do all the time. So I'm excited, though. Both of you are like the masters of traditions. So I'm excited for you to share what some of your favorite traditions are, that may be ones that you created in your home or ones that you carried on that were something that was done when you were younger. So either of you guys can start. Go ahead, Becky.
Yeah, well, when I think about it, I think we have some traditions that are just with our family, and then we have some that are extended family and some that are with friends that are like family. But some of the ones that are just us family, I think about watching the nativity story at Christmas time on Christmas Eve by the Christmas tree together, which my kids will say that's one of their favorite traditions that we do. But then it's also things like we had to go to Target every week. So my kids got a treat at Target every week. So they knew that I wanted them to equate going to Target with mom as a fun tradition and something they'd always remember that they got a fun treat. And whether that was buying popcorn there or bringing a special treat that they didn't normally get another time. And also another one of our favorites is about 3 times a year, we do a special kind of family dinner where we're focused on each other. Everyone gets put on the hot seat to encourage each other. And we usually do it at around the first day of school to anticipate a new year, and just hear from each other and encourage each other what we're hopeful for the year. And then we do it at Christmas time to pause in the midst of the busyness that Christmas can bring. And then we do it at the end of the year to reflect back on what we've seen in each other's lives and how we can encourage each other. So those have become just some sweet pause times and traditions that we can look forward to with just us. So those are some things within our family that we've done.
Well, and those are beautiful because those don't take any work either. I mean, the snack thing does a little bit,
right?
But doesn't have to. Right. It could be, like you said, getting a popcorn when you go.
Right.
But that made it so it was something that was meaningful. And I don't even think about those kinds of things. Like when we go to the grocery store and they know they can ask if they can get a cookie.
Right.
And that's just something that they look forward to, is that the bakery there gives you a cookie.
And dinner, it can be anything. It can be a special dinner, or it could be one made at home or takeout or whatever, but it's the point of being intentional and saying, hey, tonight's going to be our blessing dinner for the season, So
there was an idea that I heard that Sally Clarkson has talked about that she did with her children that I really loved, and so then I've adopted it and done it with mine, is doing a time on your birthday dinner when you have dinner together, where you each say things intentionally to be a blessing of ways that you've seen the person grow, or that just to be an encouragement to them in some way. And it's been really cool and so sweet to see how over the years, how that's grown in my children, that things that you wouldn't just say during a regular time,
Right.
but even how they
Right.
will think about it. And I'll remind them, because mine are still pretty little, but I'll remind them, remember, tonight we're going to get to do that thing where you say that nice thing about your brother or your sister. So you might want to be thinking about that.
Right.
And it's funny because there's different personalities of kids that some it might like start with a joke to like get them comfortable and lighten the mood. And then they'll like come in with the real heartfelt something.
Right.
But it's so sweet to give them that space.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Mom?
Well, like Becky, we have a lot of ones that were just our immediate family. We didn't live near extended family. And so most of ours were with the immediate family. And also, like you mentioned, Krista, that some of them just happened. We didn't mean for them to become traditions. But actually, John and I, when we first were dating, our first date was on a Sunday night, and we had pizza. And he and I just started always having pizza on Sunday night. And it ended up being a great way to start the week because you weren't having to really think about what you're doing for dinner on Sunday nights. And you guys, your whole lives, we grew up that Sunday night was pizza night. And that was actually a load off of my plate. I didn't have to even think about what dinner was Sunday night. And we usually ate it on paper plates so it kept it very simple.
Yeah.
So that was just a little family tradition. And there were a lot of little things like that. And like your Target one, for some reason, I'm not sure why I started it, but when you guys went to the dentist, after we left the dentist, where did we go?
To get a treat, like
we went for
smoothie or
ice
milkshake
cream
or something. Yeah,
We always went for ice cream.
We don't. I decided that was more than I wanted to take on, so I purposefully have never taken them.
I was trying to think. I think when I was a child, going to the dentist was really difficult in the 60s. It was not what it is today. And so I wanted my children to look forward to going to the dentist and that the dentist was a fun place. And so I was careful with which dentist I chose.
Right.
And that then everybody was excited because when we left, we got to go get ice cream.
Yeah.
So a lot of those kind of traditions. And then, of course, holiday traditions.
Oh, yeah.
And some of those were, again, they just kind of happened. And some of them were very well thought out. But one of the funny ones that just happened was we did fly to see our family, our extended family, every year for Christmas. Well, because we didn't want to be bringing back all of our gifts from Santa from this, from after on an airplane, we decided we would email Santa or write Santa a letter or fax Santa,
him.
depending on the
Sending a
era.
fax.
Yeah. We'd send a fax to Santa and explain to him we would be leaving on this date, so he would need to come prior to that. And so you guys never knew what that date was going to be. And we would just come up with some silly thing, like the whole family would go for a bike ride, and at the last minute I would say, you know what, I'm not feeling that great. I think I'll stay home. So Dad would take all
So
of
you'd lie
you.
to us.
Yes.
Great.
It's a great tradition. So you guys would leave, and then I would get out all of the gifts and have them all spread out. And then when you guys came in, I'd say, you won't believe it. I laid down to rest. And when I woke up, look, Santa came. And the funny thing about that is to this day now I have 7 grandchildren and my 4 children with their spouses. And at some time when we're all together for Christmas, I tell everybody, don't you guys all want to go get a coffee? And everybody hops in the car and they all go get a coffee. And Dad and I conveniently decide, we'll just stay home while you guys go get coffee. And everybody knows that this is when the gifts will be displayed. And so it's funny how traditions get started and how they continue.
Yes, yes. And it is so cute because even my kids now know, like, oh, that means it's that time. Don't we need to go to Starbucks to do that thing? Oh, that's so fun.
Yes. And then, of course, we have some that are more meaningful.
Oh, yeah.
We have, always have made sure we told the true Christmas story before we opened our gifts and things like that. When we would be at your grandmother's house, we always took a big family picture, and that was very meaningful to have the big family picture of all the extended family every year. So some things like that.
Yeah, and I think about too, even like stockings at one house did stockings of grandparents, one didn't, but that was something I could always expect was to see those like way overfilled stockings.
And and that was so fun for us that's something we chose to continue in our family. So now the children and grandchildren all have stockings at the house every year.
Yeah. I liked what you guys mentioned about what you mentioned about the meal thing too, about Sunday night pizza, that's something that I've kind of done in our own way at home, that because of Sean's work schedule, that it just ends up being that I do every meal of the day by myself with the kids for 4 days in a row. And especially since all of my kids are at home, that means we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner always at home. And for a while, I had this feeling that like I need to have every meal at the table all the time because table's important and meals are important, and they are. But we get 3 a day for 7 days a week. Yeah. And I'm by myself with all of them for a lot of them. And so I would realize I would have this like ache for, ooh, we could have a dinner and a movie. And that makes it fun. And then it's like something to look forward to. Well, then I realized we were doing dinner and a movie like 3 times a week, which is more than I wanted to. So we've kind of gotten in a fun rhythm that we once a week, we pick up burgers and fries, and then we watch a Little House on the Prairie episode, and everyone, most of the time it's even a picnic on the floor. And then another time, sometimes during the week, we'll do a dinner and a movie where they know we're going to actually watch a movie, and it's important to them that I try to sit with them and not just turn it on and walk away and get something done. But it's like time together that they look forward to. And that's sweet.
Yeah.
They're sweet memories. Yeah. Do you feel like your personality and like your natural gift set has shaped the way that your traditions look?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love planning parties. So for us, a lot of our traditions revolve around parties. But I know that's not for everybody. But for us, that's where a lot of our traditions come from. One of our other favorite ones we do is our Good Friday party that we do to kick off Easter weekend. And we have our kids' friends over to celebrate Easter together. And that's just became a tradition because we were doing it. And we thought, why don't we invite some of our friends to join us? And it kept going from there, to become a tradition. So, but absolutely, I think for me, because I value celebrating and it's fun for me to plan, it's not a burdensome thing, that it has definitely shaped a lot of our traditions.
And I would say similarly, I love to plan parties.
Yeah.
And it's something I really didn't even know that I enjoyed until I started doing it.
Yeah.
And I love it. And so I looked forward to planning. A lot of people think that birthdays for children are a burden, but for me that was actually really fun to plan a birthday party and some little simple games. And we always kept it pretty simple, but it was really fun.
Yeah. Well, and I think that those things feed your hearts too, is what I'm hearing you both say. That I think a lot of times we set these expectations on ourselves that, and I don't know if it was as much, Mom, for your generation as I feel like it is for mine, but I see people are so quick to post like the highlight reel of all of their things and like the perfect angle of all of their pictures, that it can feel like, oh, that's too much for me to take on, or I can't do that, or it's going to be, really costly to make that happen. Maybe costly with money, maybe just with time or energy that you don't have. Or maybe it wouldn't even serve the personality of the child. Like maybe it wouldn't serve my children or my husband. So then why am I doing this? But the way you talk about it, it feeds your hearts, which is very different.
Definitely. It was life-giving to me to do those things and think of ways that I could create traditions and things that my kids would enjoy, but I would enjoy planning for them as well.
Yeah.
So it was for your children too, thinking about that. Like I can remember one of my favorite birthday parties that I had was for one of my 2-year-olds. And we had over another couple that this 2-year-old just really loved. And so we had them over for her birthday. And we played London Bridges. And we just sang little songs and had a birthday cake. And that was just the best birthday in the world for her. She would not have enjoyed a room full of children and people.
Yeah. So. And I think I could speak to that too. The difference of my first 4 children all have birthdays in the same month. And so I think we see so strongly the differences in each of them to see what's going to serve their hearts well. Because what serves one would not serve the next and would not serve the next. So knowing each of their hearts is important. Yeah. So what value have you seen in the different traditions that you've said intentionally, these are going to be important things in our home?
I really think it's something I didn't know when I started them. And we even did, some things that you don't really think of, they're not like a celebration necessarily, but like every 3 years, I made sure to get a good picture of each of you. And then I framed it and put it on the wall. And that doesn't really seem like a tradition. And yet it was it was a part of what our family was.
It's like a rhythm that we
have. The expectations. This is what we do in our family. And I think there's a piece of that is comforting to children and makes them feel confident that this is going to continue in our home, and the importance of family, understanding this is who we are.
There's an identity that's
Yeah.
formed.
That's
around
what I
it.
was going to say. It builds a history and identity as a family.
Yeah.
This is what the Slamers do.
Yeah.
And it
it's
makes
part of
them
who we
want
are.
to be part of that family. They're happy to be a part of that
Absolutely.
family.
Yeah. Yeah. I would also say it builds the value of modeling, celebrating, and serving others. And that when my kids see me going out of my way to celebrate or serve them, they know then that's what you do on a holiday, or to bless and honor somebody else, whether it's Mother's Day or Easter or whatever it is, that they're getting the example of that. So, and I also think it's just making memories more fun. What are the memories I can make for my kids and make it more fun for them, right?
Yeah.
And things that they can enjoy. And what are things I enjoy, like we talked about before, what are things, it's brought value to the things that I enjoy that I could pass them on to my kids or use them in ways that would bless them and make memories for our family.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as having children that are, grown now too, don't you want them to want to come home and want to be with you?
Yes.
And the biggest blessing for me has been then seeing some of the things that we did that now my children want to do the same. And what better compliment?
Yeah, I think the idea of the memories that last too, and that's the thing that they look forward to.
Yeah.
One that I had heard someone else say once is that on Christmas Eve, or no, it was when they got their Christmas tree set up. When they got their Christmas tree set up and lit, that they all had a sleepover where their tree was lit. And I thought, what a fun idea. But I had very little children. And I thought, we have a hard enough time just sleeping anywhere. So the idea of having everyone sleep on the floor in the same room, I thought, this is a fail waiting to happen. We're not going to do this.
Yeah.
But I thought we could have a meal. So I started this thing where we would, then when the lights were on the tree or up and lit, then that night we would put out a blanket and we have a picnic. And it might be like oatmeal, like it's not necessarily anything special. But by the tree, and then I always give them Christmas jammies and a new Christmas book or two, which is fun because now we have this amazing library of Christmas books since my oldest is 11. And I think keeping the expectations low enough that it didn't feel like it's something I have to perform. Like, I don't even care if the whole room is clean, as long as enough of the floor is clean that we can put out a picnic blanket. And even being willing to do it with or without Dad was another thing, because again, with his work schedule, if it was a night he was gone and we had it set up, we just do it. And I hadn't even realized that this was a tradition that we had been doing on our own for a few years. And then one night when he was home, and it was the night we got the tree up, and I said, oh, remember we're having our dinner on the floor? And he said, what? And I said, yeah, this is a thing we do. And the kids are like, yeah, Dad, because we get a present. He's like, what's going on? But I think it doesn't have to be a grand thing. The stress can be low, and it feeds all of our hearts. And again, that expectation of that rhythm of we know what to expect with this.
And it's something that as the kids get older and that they want the traditions to continue, my oldest has been the one to help me plan those things or remind me it's time to do this, and it's something we get to do together then to plan it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I've definitely seen that too, even just with my oldest wanting to take things on himself and say, well, here, I'll get all of this out and set up.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
cool, go for it. Be empowered and do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, have you ever dropped a tradition either on purpose or by accident that maybe your kids caught or didn't catch, but just to say like, what? We're done with that one.
Yes. When you guys were really little, a dear friend of mine showed me how to make these Christmas trees, and we would take, it was construction paper, cut out Christmas tree on a piece of green Christmas tree, glued onto a red piece of construction paper, and then you took Christmas colored M&Ms and icing that you bought out of a container, and you put the number of M&Ms on the tree so that it was a Christmas countdown. Each day you got to eat an M&M, and we did that for years.
I loved it. I can still taste them.
Yes.
I did it when I was a teacher. Do you remember that? I did it in my 5th grade classroom when I taught.
We
The
did
kids
it
loved
for years and years, and it was really great. And at some point, when I was probably down to 2 children at home, I asked one year, do you guys want to make these Christmas trees? And by then they were probably, junior high or high school, and neither of them really cared. And so I said, okay, well, let's do something different. And another thing is, I remember we were always really busy around Christmas for a variety. Everybody is, all the different things. And so I used to take one afternoon or part of a day and say, we're going to go to the mall. And we don't have any list. There's nothing we have to do. We're just going to go see the pretty decorations. We'll go in any stores you guys want to, but I wouldn't take my Christmas list with me. It was just strictly for fun. Mm-hmm. And that was such a lovely time. We had so much fun. And then one year we didn't do it and nobody cared. Mm-hmm. And I was okay with that too. Mm-hmm. So it served us really well at a certain time in our lives, but it wasn't something we had to always do.
Yeah. As my kids got older, I found because these things were fun and natural to me, our list of, especially at Christmas time, got especially large. And so a few years ago, we have a lot of things. So we started around Thanksgiving weekend. We would sit down as a family and decide which of these things are your most favorite. Mm-hmm. And let's make sure we do those things. And if the other things didn't get done, then that's fine. But make sure we do the things that everybody wants to do.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I can't remember which of you. It was one of you, I'm sure, who said that idea to me of like going over what are the things that are important to you.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful, that some of the things that I kind of thought didn't matter, turns out mattered a lot. And I'm really glad that we didn't just not get around to it. Because also if we don't plan them, I think some of the things that are rhythms naturally just are rhythms. Mm-hmm. But like knowing my kids can look forward to Friday night, dinner and a movie, Wednesday night, Little House on the Prairie and burgers and fries. They know that they have those expectations. Right. But other things, if we don't plan, like if I don't plan at Christmas time the trip to the candy cane shop, then we're not going to take the trip to the candy cane shop. Right. So we have to be intentional about it. And even at the start of the season, which is partly also why we're going to be sharing this podcast when we are going into Thanksgiving. So to think about what things going into Thanksgiving time would be special, that you might want to say, okay, we're going to carve out time during this time to do this thing, or planning ahead of time even for Christmas, because it just fills up.
It does.
Like you said, it gets busy. And then what a sad thing if we went through the whole season just checking off all of the things, because there's always more to do, and missing out on celebrating together. That would just be so sad. So I do like the encouragement, though, that traditions can be started or stopped at any point. Yep. They don't have to go on forever. And if you've never done something and you have a new inspiration for it, just go for it. Yeah. What do you have to lose?
Like we did the Polar Express train one year. That's not something you do every year. No. But we did it one year. We'd be right when they were getting almost too old to do it. We thought we need to just make this investment and do it because it's a memory that'll last. But it's not something you do every year.
Yes.
You know. It could be, some families maybe.
Right. But not for us.
Yeah.
So what advice would you offer to the mom of little children about expectations for starting a tradition?
One thing I would say is don't expect to have everything you need to do these things. It takes years to build up a supply to have seasonal decor or fun things to do, and start with one thing. I started with just buying one thing a season, a year, and then I also asked for things for gifts, whether it's seasonal decor
That's a great idea.
Or other things, because I wanted to have those things, and my birthday's in the fall, so it was convenient to get things, especially for fall holidays. That I could build a supply, or buying one birthday banner. Buy one birthday banner and put it up for every birthday in your family. So you don't have to start with all these things. It can be starting with one thing and reuse those things over and over again.
And I would say even, besides the actual traditions and celebrations, even the decorations like that in your home, I really feel like it builds a sense of security for the children. When you open that box of fall decorations,
it has a smell.
Yeah, it does.
A lovely smell.
They see that one item that they see every Thanksgiving, and that's home to them, and that builds a sense of security. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I would say the other thing, when you have especially little ones, your expectations, you need to make sure, again, that your expectations, you're doing this for them. And so...
Not for Pinterest, not for Instagram.
Yes.
Not for your neighbor, for what you think they're doing.
Right.
Whether they are or not.
Right. And so even thinking about, what exactly are we going to do? And is a nice meal with nice dishes and nice table settings, is that really a blessing to a 3-year-old? Not likely.
Probably not.
And so...
Or you're probably going to be stressed by the end of it.
Yes. So I would just, the traditions need to be age appropriate.
Yeah. And again, life-giving for you.
Right.
Because if it's life-giving for you as a mom to get out all these things and do a whole lot of hands-on stuff, that's great. do that, and it will serve your children, and it will serve you. But if it's something that you saw someone else do that you think, oh, I really should do that too, but it's causing you stress, like, don't pick that.
Yeah.
Okay, but what do you think about the mom of older kids who maybe hasn't carried on or created new traditions, but thinks, I would really like to, like, is it too late?
No, it's never too late. I think you could start, tomorrow, and you could say, oh, it's Tuesday, and on Tuesday we're going to have Taco Tuesday, and then every week Taco Tuesday is what we have. And so even little things like that, again, it builds security.
And I would say too, you probably know your kids better now that they're older, so think of things that would be a blessing to them that could start to be traditions and a way for you to invest in your relationship with them. So yeah.
Yeah, I think about this. I hadn't thought about this till we're talking about it now, but when Dad used to take us to orchestra rehearsals, because that wasn't until I was older, and like middle school, early high school, and that it just became a tradition that he would stop and get us like a Slurpee or a drink of some sort of other treat that we could get on the way home, and I just knew that I could expect that, and that didn't start till we were older, and it was still special and meaningful. Yeah. Okay, last thing, what advice would you offer to the tired mom who feels like, I just don't think I can add anything else, but I feel like this sounds important, so now I need to do this, and I haven't been doing this, and I'm going to miss this part of my children's heart? Because sometimes it does, mine are still young, and sometimes, especially with the littles, it can feel like that.
Yeah. I would just say, keep it easy. Keep it simple, and if it's important to you, then make it a priority and do one thing. Just do one thing, and even for me, like Becky talks about, she loves to decorate for holidays. I actually really do too. I think some of that's almost like the teacher in me that likes, it's like changing my bulletin board.
It just became your fireplace.
Yes. But that's not a must. And for me, I had, maybe 4 places in my home that I knew every year, every season, I changed this picture out. For me, it's better for me if everything's very systematic. So my whole house wasn't decorated for Christmas because that was overwhelming.
Well, thank you guys so much for all of your thoughts on this, and especially as we get ready to jump into Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and just so many fun opportunities to celebrate. I hope that it inspires moms to try something new, and maybe we'll even see some different ways that people tried something or share some of their ideas, and it can inspire us to try something new as well. So thank you guys so much. I so appreciate it.
There were so many inspiring ideas shared today, and I want to challenge you to take the most important step. As you look toward the coming months, open your calendar and make some actual plans for the traditions you want to make a priority. If it's something with family or friends, be the one to make the call this week and get it planned so it happens. If it's something that you're expecting as a family activity with just you and your husband and kids, make sure your husband knows what your expectations are so that he can try to meet them. And even if it's something simple that you were inspired to do, like a Taco Tuesday or a dinner and a movie night, put it on your calendar each week so that your children will come to expect this as a new regular rhythm in your home. You have the ability, through whatever traditions you choose, to make your home a place of security and lasting memories that your children will carry with them forever. If you have a tradition from your home that you can share to inspire other moms, please leave it in the comments or on our social media at Seek Holy Living. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss any of our weekly conversations. And check out our show notes below, where I have links to the resources mentioned on the podcast. I release a new podcast every Monday and additional content at seekholyliving.com, including a video of this conversation and a deeper dive into all things mom. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Seek Holy Living for more fun and conversation. If this was an encouragement to you, please share it with your friends.
And join us next week as we talk about mothering in community.